Welcome to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Your weekly dose of news and advice that comes to your pocket every single Saturday. Holding it down, here we got Mack, Mark, Scott, and Landon. Enjoy today's show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your esteemed host today. It's Lando. Mack is not with us. Mark is not with us. But Scotty, you're here holding it down with us. Welcome to the podcast. It is Saturday, January 18th, and we're talking about the conference championships. Scotty, how you doing, my friend?
I am just spectacular. This is one of the most exciting weeks in football. You hear it from a lot of analysts who or journalists who talk to the players every week, and they say when it comes to this weekend, a lot of them say there's actually a lot more intensity and stress with this game than there is with the actual Super Bowl, because they're all excited about trying to get there. You know, once they're there, it's a spectacle, it's fun, but this weekend will determine if they get to say they played in a Super Bowl or they got really close. And I'm always amped up for this weekend.
Yeah, so how was your viewing experience last weekend? Unfortunately, your Vikings, although you tried to scold them to victory, Scotty, they did not. They came up short against the 49ers in a pretty dominant performance. Sorry about that. Well, you want to give a quick recap of the game?
Do I want to? No. My viewing experience was much like their offense, lethargic. I went out with a big group of friends there at a nice bar in downtown Toronto, had all my gear on, was revved up. And, I really just wanted, at the least, a good game, a close game, like a big play in the fourth quarter to determine who was going to win. And I just really did not get that. From the first kickoff, I swear, it just felt like the Vikings were trying not to lose. And when you're not trying to win, but you're trying not to lose, you get steamrolled by a team that's trying to win. And that's exactly what I witnessed for the better part of 3 hours was, little tiny bits of hope here or there, but it would always get erased by a bonehead play, somebody like Xavier Rhodes getting just absolutely torched in coverage, great use of $10 million,
Yep.
Or just penalties at the worst time. I never got the feeling for more than maybe 10 minutes that we were actually going to be competitive and take a run at winning this thing. And that's part of sports. It's unfortunate, but it was certainly not how I wanted this promising season to end. How about you? How was your watching experience?
It's episode 88 of the Saturday Morning Snap, and fortunately for Mack, the Green Bay Packers had maybe a controversial win against the Seahawks, but in the end, it was good enough. I think the Packers defense really, really performed well. That was an amazing Texans-Chiefs game with the Chiefs down 24 and coming back to win 51-31. And then the surprise of the weekend was the Ravens losing to the Titans. The Titans came out to a lead, and what really showed is that the targets for Lamar Jackson just weren't there. And they're not there for every other team in the playoffs right now. I think they had the weakest receiving core. They relied so much on the run that when they're coming back in a game, it's just a little bit harder to perform well and to perform consistently. Lamar Jackson, still in my mind, is the MVP of the season, and I think he had a great year. It would have been really fun to see a showdown with the Chiefs. That would have been amazing. I would have loved to have seen that just as a fan. But at the same time, like I said, I'm a low-key Titans fan. I like watching them. I love A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown and Tannehill got me past you, Scotty, in our Dynasty Championship. So I'll always have a soft spot for those two. But you being a big Derrick Henry fan. So we're gonna jump into the preview right away. We're gonna kind of get rid of the small talk. We have a few stats here and there. It's going to be a little bit shorter episode because it's just you and me, Scotty. But let's talk about this Titans-Chiefs game. Should be a lot of fun. It'd be great to see a 6th seed get to the Super Bowl. But do you really think that's going to happen, Scotty? As much of a big Derrick Henry fan you are, can they get past the Pat Mahomes-led Chiefs?
So yes, I am a massive Derrick Henry fan, and anybody who knows my allegiances in fantasy know that I've been pumping Derrick Henry's tires for 4 seasons. It's been a long haul, but he is now King Henry. There is now no doubt. When we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, who are favored to win this week, am I willing to say outright that Tennessee is going to beat them? No. But am I willing to say that I think the Titans have the makeup to be a team that could very well beat them? Absolutely. Right. There are a few stats that I think really indicate this could be a great game. First of all, Derrick Henry started his second half of dominance of the regular season and postseason in November against the Chiefs. He put up a 23-carry, 188-yard, 2-touchdown day. And that really started this amazing second half of the season where he only was kept under 100 yards once in 8 games. That's phenomenal. So when we look at Kansas City, they have the 26th ranked worst rush defense in the league. Now, I don't have to tell you, if you've been watching the playoffs, if you put Derrick Henry up against a bottom 25 rushing defense, I think things could get ugly, at least on the ground. Now, to play devil's advocate and balance things out, Tennessee's defense in the regular season had the 25th worst pass defense. So you got Pat Mahomes and that very dynamic offense going up against a secondary that's been torched. You know, really, this is like putting gunpowder in a room, lighting a fuse, and wondering when it's going to go off. The only thing I will say, as I'm talking about the Titans and why I think they legitimately have a chance at the major upset, is I think that the Titans defense over the past 2 games, against New England, Tom Brady in Foxborough, and against the MVP to be Lamar Jackson, have played a whole lot better than what the regular season standings would dictate. The defense has surprised everybody. Nobody was giving them a chance, and they, in Brady and Jackson, shut down one of the smartest, most consistent playoff performers, and one of the all-out freaks of the NFL that it's almost impossible to game plan for. So to say that that defense won't be able to stand up against Pat Mahomes, especially after the Texans started off, especially after Mahomes and that offense allowed the Texans to get up by 26 points. Yeah, God. I'm
24, I think it was.
24? 24 points. I'm not sure that I'm going to say the Titans don't have a chance. I think it's going to be a really competitive game, and I would not be surprised if we see the Titans in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I'll bring it back to their first meeting of the season. Tennessee did win this matchup 35-32. It was in Tennessee, so this game is in Kansas City this time. Mahomes threw for over 440 yards, 3 touchdowns, but they didn't have much of a running game. Williams only went 19 for 77. Tyreek Hill, though, he ate. He went for 157 and 1. Tannehill only threw for 181 yards, but like you said, Scotty, Derrick Henry ran for 188 and 2. The thing is, Monday morning, Andy Reid can go into that locker room and say, you know what, Chiefs, Mahomes, everyone, you guys played like crap. You guys didn't play very good. You won that game, but you didn't play very good because they let the Texans get into that lead. You guys stunk. And that's the mind frame. The Chiefs are favorites, but they have something to prove. The Titans have overachieved this year. They even if they lost right now, their fans, the Ryan Tannehill's, their coach Mike Vrabel, they would go home happy. You know what? We accomplished more. We beat the Patriots. We beat the Ravens. But the Chiefs are hungry. They want a Super Bowl. I think that kind of frame of mind would really, I think that leads to Kansas City. I kind of want Andy Reid to win a Super Bowl. He still hasn't. And like I said last weekend, is that Andy Reid can see your team one time and lose. The second time, it's a whole different story. And I think you're right. Derrick Henry is a machine. He's the best player on that team. But Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Derrick Henry is a running back, in my opinion. And I think that's the difference. I do love, like I said, I'm a low-key Titans fan, but if I was a betting man, I would bet big on the Chiefs. Again, I mean, I was wrong against that Saints-Vikings game, but yeah, I think the Chiefs just have more to prove. This is not their peak, where, I mean, it very well could be for the Titans, and Titans fans would be happy. I think Chiefs fans, if they lose, this is a disappointment. You're wasting Patrick Mahomes' kind of prime years. The whole Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes could be kind of what Tom Brady and Belichick is for the next 10 years. I think it's going to be that good, and it could start against the Titans. 2 years ago, the Chiefs are still salty about it. Marcus Mariota won by 1 point 2 years ago from that own pass, that deflection touchdown from Marcus Mariota. So I think the Chiefs will come out hungry. They will be relentless. But Mackenzie's kind of on your side, Scotty. I talked to Mackenzie earlier, and if you could design a team to beat these Chiefs, it would look a lot like the Tennessee Titans. So I get where I like that we're kind of split on this game. So do you have anything to one thing I'll say is that, I mean, kind of going to your point, Derrick Henry leads the league and leads the postseason in yards after contact with 4.6, and that offensive line, ranked third in the NFL, is creating 2.5 yards for him. So right there, he's getting 7 yards per rush almost. That's insane. That's crazy stat for Derrick Henry, and he very well could eat. It just, if the Titans go down, which is very possible in this game against Mahomes, then it's going to be on Ryan Tannehill. And can he pass? Potentially. The Chiefs are one of the best in the league at covering the deep pass as well. So should be a good game, Scotty. It's one of my favorites to look forward to this weekend. Do you have any final notes on this game before we move on to the Packers-Niners?
Yeah, you touched on a lot of good points. It's fun to hear that Mack and I are on the same side about something. That's rare. But the one of the main things
after hearing my side, what do you think? You still kind of like your stats better?
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. If we're a betting man, the thing is, the Chiefs are favored at to win by 7.5, and they are the favorites. Sure, obviously, by me saying I think Tennessee has a good chance to win, I'm saying I think it's worth the risk to reward ratio of anybody who knows how to make a bet, right? Obviously,
so you bet on Tennessee to at least cover or win.
Yes, that's the thing is, I'm saying they have the makeup to be a team that can very well win this. The thing is, they are the underdogs statistically, standing wise. There's a reason it's in Kansas City, but the reality is, like Max said, I think that this is, if you were going to custom build a team to basically contain this explosive, high octane offense, it would be Tennessee. Because sure, Kansas City, there's a million ways they can win with Hill and I could see the tight end game really coming into play. And when you go Smith against Kelsey, I think you know who has the better end there. But the reality is, there is a world where what happened in the first half of the last game kind of happens at the start. The difference is, instead of a combination of Duke Johnson and a few other key players, you've got Derrick Henry to just give the ball to and try to run him 25, 30 times to keep Mahomes on the sideline. So there is a narrative that happens here with one or two key plays that all of a sudden flips Kansas City on their head, because if the defense has to stay on the field for 10-minute stretches, Mahomes and Hill can't help you there. So there is a way that this could happen, and it'd be more of a low-scoring, controlled affair, which would be a smash-mouth style that would absolutely benefit Tennessee. Kansas City are the favorites, and there's a great chance that they could win. But when you talk about who's hungrier, I kind of disagree, because Kansas City, yes, they're always winning. Everybody thinks that they are the cream of the crop. But you want to talk about hunger. You're talking about a locker room that, first of all, had to go to Foxborough, sit there in the visitors' change room where every team goes to die in the playoffs. And the coaches and Vrabel, everybody had to tell them, and they had to tell themselves, no, we can beat Brady in Foxborough. One of the best defenses during the regular season, one of the best fantasy players of the regular season, that New England defense. They went out and did it. Then they had to go to take on, a video game cheat, Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, another one of the hardest places to play, and say, no, we can do this. And they steamrolled there. So if you want to talk about guys that are hungry, like they just at their core as a group and a team, they could have easily laid down and died in Foxborough, just be another casualty of New England in the playoffs, and nobody would have given it a second thought. They would have said, well, Brady, Belichick, like what do you want? But they persevered and they won. And they won again last week. And I think right now they think there's nobody. If you can beat Brady and Belichick, if you can beat Lamar Jackson, then there's nobody you can't beat. So I don't think they're scared of Kansas City at all. I just think they think they're the best team and they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So this should be a lot of fun on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I want Tennessee to win. It would be great. I mean, it's probably for the casual fan, it's probably not the most exciting Super Bowl, but as a football fan, for sure, I totally want it. I just really don't think it's going to happen.
Well, only time will tell, and I'm looking forward to... I also have Derrick Henry in our NFL game challenge there, so,
You don't have a chance, so does Marky. So you know.
Oh, well, but you know what? There's always second place. Mark's team is dynamite.
Okay, play for second. I've never known you to play for second place, Scotty.
What are you playing for? Dead last?
No, I'm not in dead last. Mackenzie is.
Oh.
But I'm just...
Oh, my.
Just saying. Anyways, next, let's talk about the Green Bay San Francisco game.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we're not fans of either team. If it was up to me, I personally would like to see Green Bay Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Two great quarterbacks, one up and comer, one grizzled veteran and Aaron Rodgers. But to be fair, the San Francisco team arguably is one of the strongest overall, right? So their defense is great. Their pass rush is great. Their running game, whether it's a three-head tandem there, is great. Their quarterback play has been enough, and their receivers are good. And their tight end is arguably one of the best, if not the best tight end in the league. So Green Bay has its work cut out for them. Scott, so this is a 45-point over-under. The Niners are favored by 7.5, so same spread as the Kansas City Titans game. What are your thoughts on this game? Who do you like? Do you think San Francisco just made the Vikings look too easy, or do you like the underdog in Green Bay here?
This one's really tight. There's such different teams, and that's what makes...
In what way?
Well, like everything you said about... I mean, one quarterback is relatively unproven in the playoffs, but the one game I got to see, he sure looked good when needed against the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers, everyone knows the story. Proven goods. And if I had to put money on either just Aaron Rodgers or Garoppolo coming through in a key moment when needed, I would put the money on Rodgers. It's not that simple, though, for all the reasons you just mentioned. Kittle alone, when you're talking about Graham or Kittle at this point in time, that's a big difference. I do think it's very tight, and I do think San Francisco at home are the favorites for a reason. I do think that most likely that defense in San Francisco is going to cause enough chaos to allow the San Fran to squeak by. I think it's going to be close, and I do think it will come down to one or two tight plays. But that being said, I really think it's going to be a good game. And there is the potential for the Packers to pull this off because,
of course,
with Aaron Rodgers at the helm in the playoffs, anything's possible.
Yep.
Devontae Adams looked uncoverable last week.
He very much did look uncoverable, but if there was going to be a game plan, if you shut down Devontae Adams, it's tough there for the receiving game in Green Bay. Geronimo Allison didn't really do much. Alan Lazard has come out to be a really big-bodied guy, but not someone that's consistent. Marcus Valdes-Scantling kind of disappears. The difference is going to be Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Both teams, so San Francisco's given up 4.3 yards per rush, and Green Bay's given up 4.7. So it's leaning towards San Francisco having a better defense. But that Smith brothers, they're not actually brothers. Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith both had a couple sacks last weekend. They two of them lead the league or at the top of the league in rushing. And you're right, it's the difference between the experience of Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers. New head coach in Green Bay. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I do think just that San Francisco is a more complete team, and they're going to pull it off. I want to give this game more time, Scotty, but I think we're too much in agreement. If Green Bay is going to win, what do you think is going to be the difference maker for them? Is it just going to be Aaron Rodgers throwing up a Hail Mary, making those passes on time, or is it going to be Aaron Jones scoring 3 touchdowns like he feels like this entire season?
I was about to say, I think it's going to be Aaron Jones. I think that will be the difference because I think I'm no NFL coach, but if I'm preparing to take on Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams in the playoffs, I feel like they're going to be focused so much on trying to shut that down. If they can bottle up Aaron Jones at the same time, you're done, right? If they bottle up Jones in the backfield and they blanket Devontae Adams and he can't get free, I just don't believe, like you said, there's enough talent on that offense around those guys to beat San Francisco. If Jones can break loose for some of those just massive runs we've seen this year, and Devontae Adams can shake off double coverage and make the corners look ridiculous like he did last week, then they have a chance. But if both those guys are shut down, Aaron Rodgers can, be Aaron Rodgers all he wants, but someone has to come down with the ball. And he really, Aaron Rodgers, when his play action game is on, it's awesome. But for them to actually believe play action fakes for him to air it out down the field, you have to respect the run game. So, like you said, San Francisco to me is the more complete team, which means the individuals on Green Bay that have excelled for them to win, they're going to need to show up to win. Because if I have to put my faith in Lazard or one of those guys just having a massive day, I'd rather take a defense like San Francisco's any day of the week. Or the bit rolls, on San Francisco. That's the thing. You don't always know where the points are going to come from. That's what was really frustrating about watching them against the Vikes last week. You're not really sure how they're going to score. Samuel, maybe it's the run game. It's a 3-headed monster. You're not exactly sure who's going to have the big day, but they just do it as a unit and they steamrolled. It wasn't, Devontae Adams needs to have a big day or Jones needs to have a big day or there's no chance. It was just, they're playing offense. It seems like next guy up mentality, but it works. Whoever has the hot hand, then they just keep going with them. And I think that's harder to game plan for than shut down Adams, shut down Aaron Jones, and watch out for Jimmy Graham. The rest of them, we should be able to cover them one-on-one. So we will see. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, Scotty, it's going to be a great game. 49ers were first in the league this season for the fewest passing yards. If it's and the thing is, they can rush the quarterback with that front four without blitzing. So leave more guys back there to cover, make it harder on Aaron Rodgers, and it's going to be. But again, I guess Green Bay can do that as well. And if the inexperience from Jimmy Garoppolo comes through, I think that really gives the Packers a chance. But I think that's it for us, Scotty. We should wrap it up. Make sure to like, subscribe. Follow us all off season. We'll be doing videos this entire off season, and stuff that won't age. We'll rank all of our favorite players. We'll give you commissioner tips and everything else on how to make your leagues better. And then we'll hold a contest to be in our listener league for 2020. So that'll be exciting as well. Stay tuned for that. Scotty, any final words before we go?
We got 2 great games this weekend. Everything's ramping up, and you know what? This is the time when it's just great to be a fan. And once the Super Bowl wraps, we'll be right back into fantasy mode, and we've got a lot of content ready to roll. So stick with us, like and subscribe. Have a great weekend, everybody.
See you, Scotty. See you, fans.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at SMS_fantasy. Support this independent podcast at patreon.com/SaturdayMorningSnap.